Hello! Today I'm going to be showing you how to overclock the i5-4690K on Gigabyte's Z97P-D3 motherboard. You're going to need two programs to do that. One of them will monitor the temperature on your CPU. For that we're going to use Open Hardware Monitor. And these are the fields we're interested in. These show the maximum temperatures your CPU cores have reached while the program was on. The second piece of software is going to be Prime95, and that's going to be used to stress your CPU. What it does is just it puts an insane amount of load on your CPU, which means that if there's an unstable overclock, it's going to fail quickly. Your screen is going to freeze, you get the blue screen of death, there's going to be a sad face which said that there was a problem, or your computer is just going to straight up shut down. And that's all fine. It doesn't damage your components by any means. So we're going to run the test now. It's as simple as clicking OK. There's no settings or tweaking that need to be done. And then what we're going to do is going to watch the temperatures. You're going to watch your temperatures at stock settings, that is the way the CPU and the motherboard came. And you want to take a note of your temperatures. That's your temperatures that your CPU reaches just on its stock settings. So we're going to take the number 54 for a 1 minute stress test. Yeah, I recommend more than that for any overclock. Okay. What we're going to do now is head over to the BIOS and actually overclock the CPU. Smash the delete key to get into BIOS. And then we're gonna head to the left arrow here, which is going to take you to another view of the BIOS. I think they call it UEFI. First thing we're going to do is we're going to set the voltage, the CPU core voltage, which should be the second line. It might be further down, it's just CPU V core, and it should be around 1.05 or 1.1. We're going to change this to manual, and for now we're going to put a very modest 1.1. Now the safe limit for this is about 1.3. Anything higher than 1.3 and you're looking at custom water loops to cool it or liquid nitrogen cooling. So the second thing we're going to change is the CPU clock ratio, or the CPU multiplier. We're going to change that from 35, which is 3.5 gigahertz, to, let's try 39, which is 3.9 gigahertz. Okay, so now your CPU is overclocked. It's running at 3.9 gigahertz, as you can see from here. We're going to save those settings and exit the BIOS, boot into Windows, and see if this overclock is stable. Now what can sometimes happen is that your PC will refuse to boot with some of the settings. If that happens, you just go back and increase the voltage or decrease the speed to get a stable overclock. So we're going to turn on Open Hardware Monitor to keep an eye on our temperatures, and then we're going to run Prime95 to make that CPU work hard. Now you repeat this again for, well, if you're just exploring what your CPU is kind of able to do, you can run it for just 5 or 10 minutes just to get a rough idea of whether this is a kind of good overclock or not. But if it's a frequency that you're happy with and you want to use that in your everyday computing, you just need to test it for at least 20 minutes. And what you're looking for is temperatures not exceeding 95 degrees during stress testing, which means that during normal use you probably won't see anything upwards of 65 degrees Celsius, which is what you want your CPU's maximum temperatures to be during normal use. Okay, so say that our temperature is 58 degrees Celsius and the stress test did not fail, the computer did not shut itself down, there was no blue screen. We just turn everything off and increase the voltage, increase the frequency first actually. See if we can get it to not boot or fail the stress test. Okay, so we saw that 3.9 GHz stable. Let's try 4.2, which is most likely not going to be stable. We're not going to change the voltage, we're going to keep the voltage at 1.1. Oh, sorry about my camera, it's like wild. Okay, so we have a successful boot into Windows. I'd call that lucky. Okay, so we launched the temperature monitoring software and then we launch our stress test. Oh, there you go. Shut down. It's not a stable overclock, as you might have thought. It's too little voltage for too high of an overclock. So when this happens, I was too slow to smash delete on time. So I will not get into BIOS now. When this happens, you increase the voltage. And I recommend increasing the voltage by either let's see what we're going to increase it by. I would say increase it by 0.02 or 0.025. So I'm going to go with 0.025. So we're going to try 1.125 and see if it runs stable with that voltage. I actually don't think it will. I think that it's going to take at least 1.2 volts to, or at least 1.175 volts to get a stable overclock at 4.2 GHz. Temperature monitoring and prime 95. Okay. And now we keep an eye on the temperatures. Now as you can see, they start rising much quicker and higher. If I kept this stress test running for 20 minutes, I'm probably going to be looking at a maximum temperature of 70, high 70s, maybe even 80 degrees Celsius. Well, I'd say that this overclock has passed our 30 seconds overclock test. And this is about everything you need to know about overclocking. Just keep an eye on your temperatures and don't let them go over 90 or 95 degrees Celsius. At my current overclock, temperatures can actually go about 97, 96 degrees Celsius, but that's because I realized that during my normal use, which is mostly gaming, that's the most stressful thing I do on this CPU. it's not getting used. As you can see here, every thread is at 100%. If I play the game, this thread would be at 70%, this one would be at 20, this one would be at 50, and this one would be at 30%. So the CPU would be doing much less work, therefore the temperatures would be much lower, and that's why I run a 4.5 gigahertz overclock with 1.25 volts on it, and the temperatures go over 90s when stress testing with prime 95, which is it puts an unrealistic load on your CPU. Your CPU is not going to reach those temperatures during normal use. During normal use, you want your temperatures to be certainly below 70, preferably below 65 degrees Celsius. I hope that this has been useful to you, and yeah, good luck with your overclock.